The power rule. The general power rule states that this derivative is n times the function raised to the 9 minus 1 power times the derivative of the function. It's useful when finding the derivative of a function that is raised to the n power. As you can see here, this is the formula to the power rule. Now let's look at an example. F of x equals x to the power of 10. So this will be f of x equals 10x to the power of 10 minus 1. And so our final answer will be f prime of x equals 10x to the power of 9. Let's move on to another example. F of x equals x to the power of 22. Repeat the same steps you did last equation. So it will be f of x equals 22x to the power of 22 minus 1. That leaves you with f prime of x equals 22x to the power of 21. Now let's move on to the third example. F of x equals 2x to the power of negative 10 plus 7x to the power of negative 2. This might seem confusing, but it's really just the same exact steps again. So it's f prime of x equals negative 10 multiplied by 2 to the power of negative 10 minus 1. It's the same for the other part. So negative 2 multiplied by 7x to the power of negative 2 minus 1. You'll be left with f prime of x equals negative 20x to the power of negative 11 minus 14x to the power of negative 3. Let's look at another example that you might face. F of x equals x to the power of 3 over 2. Again, the same steps. So that will be f prime of x equals 3 over 2x to the power of 3 over 2 minus 1. And our final answer is f prime of x equals 3 over 2x to the power of 1 over 2. For our last example, f of x equals 2x to the power of 5. So it will be f prime of x equals 2 multiplied by 5x to the power of 5 minus 1. And that's f prime of x equals 10x to the power of 4.